The encounter and decision. The void between stars was silent as the United Earth Exploration Vessel, UEEV, Pathfinder cruised through an uncharted sector of the Cygnus Arm. Captain Alina Reeves stood on the bridge, her dark eyes reflecting the distant stars on the main view screen. The Pathfinder was 3 months into its 2-year mission to map this largely unexplored region of space. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy signatures ahead," announced Lieutenant Maya Wong from the sensor station. Her fingers danced across the holographic interface, bringing up detailed readings. Multiple objects, clustered together, approximately 2 million kilometers ahead. "Unidentified vessels?" asked Commander David Chen, the first officer who stood at Reeves' side. "Possibly," Wong replied. "Their configuration doesn't match anything in our database." Captain Reeves nodded. At 43, she had 17 years of deep space exploration experience, but first contact scenarios still sent a thrill of both excitement and caution through her. Slow to 1/4 impulse. Yellow alert status. Let's approach carefully. As the Pathfinder drew closer, the objects resolved on the main view screen. There were hundreds of them. Strange, elongated vessels with bulbous sections and crystalline protrusions along their hulls. They drifted in formation, but appeared to be moving only from momentum rather than under their own power. "Life signs?" Reeves asked, leaning forward in her command chair. Dr. Aisha Okafor, the ship's xenobiologist, looked up from her station with wide eyes. "Captain, I'm detecting thousands of life signs, but they're in some kind of suspended animation. Metabolic rates extremely low. Are they aware of us?" "No response to standard hailing frequencies," reported Communications Officer Raj Patil. "But there is a repeating signal being broadcast on a low energy band." Analysis. It appears to be an automated message. The computer is working on translation now. The bridge crew waited in tense silence. After several minutes, Patil looked up. "Captain, translation complete. It's a distress call." "On speakers," Reeves ordered. A synthesized voice filled the bridge, the alien language now converted to English. "This is the Exodus fleet of the Myrathi Collective. Our homeworld is dying. Ecological collapse followed by stellar instability. We seek asylum with spacefaring civilizations. Our people sleep until we find a new home." The message continued, becoming increasingly disturbing. "We have approached the Thularian Assembly. They denied us entry. We have approached the Synthar Concordance. They denied us entry. We have approached the Ilum Federation. They denied us entry." The message listed 3 more advanced civilizations, all of which turned away the refugees. Life support systems failing. Estimate 58% of sleepers will perish within 1 standard orbit without assistance. This message will repeat. Silence fell over the bridge as the message began again. "Scan their power systems," Captain Reeves ordered. Chief Engineer Marcus Okonkwo's voice came through the comm. "Captain, their power grid is operating at less than 30% capacity. Many of the stasis pods are already failing. Based on radiation decay from their propulsion systems, they've been drifting for at least 25 years. Commander Chen frowned. "Captain, I recommend caution. We should report this to Earth Command before proceeding. First contact protocols are clear." "These people are dying, David," Reeves interrupted. "How bad is their situation, Doctor?" Dr. Okafor checked her instruments. "Critical, Captain. I'm detecting evidence that thousands have already died. The remaining stasis pods are failing systematically." Lieutenant Commander Jackson Harris, head of security, spoke up. "Captain, with all due respect, we know nothing about these aliens. This could be an elaborate trap." "A trap?" Dr. Okafor looked at Harris with disbelief. "There are children in those stasis pods." "We have our orders to explore, not to rescue," Harris insisted. "And our resources are limited." Captain Reeves moved closer to the view screen, studying the alien fleet. "Science officer, why were they rejected by those other civilizations?" Dr. Elisa Navarro, the ship's scientist, reviewed the complete message translation. The Thularians cited concerns about resource competition. The Zinthar feared cultural contamination. The Elam were concerned about potential pathogens. She paused, her expression troubled. The most advanced, the Vox Continuum, simply stated that evolutionary weaker species must adapt or perish. They claimed that intervention would disrupt natural selection. A moment of uncomfortable silence followed. Reeves turned to face her crew. "Throughout human history, we've faced similar situations," she said quietly. "Too many times we turned away those in need because it was convenient or because we were afraid. We've learned from those mistakes." She returned to her chair and straightened her uniform. "Prepare a boarding party, medical, engineering, and science personnel. I want to know if we can help stabilize their ships." "Captain," Harris objected, "Earth Command must be consulted before we make first contact." "I'm not asking permission to make contact, Lieutenant Commander," Reeves replied firmly. "I'm informing Earth Command that we're providing emergency assistance to a dying species." She turned to Patel. "Send a full report to Earth through the quantum relay. Tell them we found refugees who need our help." 4 hours later, Captain Reeves floated through the alien vessel alongside Dr. Okafor and Chief Engineer Okonkwo. They moved carefully in their environmental suits, lights illuminating the strange interior of the ship. "These stasis chambers are remarkable," Dr. Okafor said, examining one of thousands of pods that lined the walls in rows stretching deep into the ship. Inside each pod was a Myrathi, a being with iridescent purple skin, 4 arms, and a cranial ridge that ran from forehead to the back of their elongated heads. "But they're failing," Okonkwo added, checking the power systems. "Main generators are almost dead. They've been drifting for decades." Reeves moved closer to one pod containing a smaller figure, clearly a child. "Can we help them?" Okonkwo considered for a moment. "The Pathfinder could provide emergency power to the main ships. That would buy us time, but long-term, they need a home." Back on the Pathfinder, Captain Reeves faced her senior officers in the conference room. Dr. Okafor displayed medical scans of the Myrathi. "They're oxygen breathers with compatible biochemistry," she explained. "They could potentially survive on several of our colony worlds with minimal adaptation." "But will Earth agree to take them?" Commander Chen asked, voicing what everyone was thinking. "We're about to find out," Reeves said as the large screen on the wall activated, showing Admiral Helena Zhang's face. "Captain Reeves, we've reviewed your report about these Myrathi refugees." "Yes, Admiral. What are your orders?" The Admiral's expression was solemn. "The Security Council is divided. Some members are concerned about the resources required and potential security risks." She paused before continuing. "Others reminded us of Earth's history, times when we were the ones turning away those in need." Admiral Zhang straightened in her chair. "You are authorized to render assistance and begin revival of a small delegation. The refugee fleet will be escorted to New Horizon Colony, where we can evaluate long-term options." "This won't be easy, Captain," the Admiral added. "You're opening a door that can't be closed." "With respect, Admiral," Reeves replied, "it's a door that should have been opened by the first civilization these people encountered." After the transmission ended, the bridge crew looked to their captain with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "Well," said Dr. Okafor with a small smile, "it looks like humanity has just adopted about 15,000 aliens." Captain Reeves nodded. "Contact the Myrathi vessels. Begin power transfer. Let's wake up their leaders and give them the news." She looked out at the view screen where the vast fleet of refugee ships drifted. "Tell them that unlike the others, humanity has decided to help." The next 3 days were a flurry of activity as the crew worked tirelessly to stabilize the Myrathi vessels. Captain Reeves had given clear orders: save as many refugees as possible. Chief Engineer Okonkwo directed his team as they connected power cables from the Pathfinder to the largest Myrathi ship. "Careful with those connections," he called to his assistant. Their power system operates on different principles than ours. How much longer can they last without our help? Asked Lieutenant Sarah Kimothy, who was working on the power transfer system. Many of the stasis pods were already failing when we found them, Okonkwo replied, checking the readings on his device. Without our power supply, most would be gone within months. Back on the Pathfinder, Dr. Okafor prepared a special chamber for the first Myrathi they would wake. The ship's physician, Dr. James Liu, monitored the process carefully. Their biology is fascinating, Dr. Okafor said, adjusting the atmospheric composition in the room. 4 arms, purple skin, but surprisingly similar to us in many ways. Let's hope they see the similarity too, Dr. Liu replied nervously. The first Myrathi they chose to revive was, according to the ship's records, a lead scientist named Vex Tora. As the stasis pod was carefully transported to the Pathfinder, Captain Reeves gathered her senior staff in the medical bay. Remember, she told them, this being's entire species has been rejected by 6 different civilizations. We need to show Vex Tora that humans are different. Dr. Liu monitored the revival process. The pod hummed and glowed as it slowly brought its occupant back to consciousness. When the cover finally slid open, everyone held their breath. Vex Tora was taller than an average human, with 4 slender arms and skin that shimmered with an iridescent purple hue. The alien's large, multifaceted eyes opened slowly, reflecting the light in prismatic patterns. Vex Tora sat up cautiously, looking around at the humans with an expression that needed no translation. Fear. Patil activated the universal translator they had programmed using the Myrathi distress signal. You are safe, he said gently. We found your ships. We want to help. Vex Tora spoke, the words coming through the translator with only a slight delay. Who are you? Where am I? Captain Reeves stepped forward. I am Captain Alina Reeves of the United Earth exploration vessel Pathfinder. Your fleet was drifting in space. Your power systems were failing. We are providing emergency assistance. Vex Tora seemed to study each human face before speaking again. The others before you, they all refused to help us. They said we would be a burden, that we should accept extinction with dignity. The alien's voice trembled slightly. That is not our way, Reeves replied firmly. Earth has agreed to provide your people sanctuary. We're preparing to bring your ships to one of our colonies. Vex Tora's 4 hands made a complex gesture that the translator couldn't interpret. Why would you help us when more advanced civilizations turned us away? Dr. Okafor spoke up. Because humans know what it means to be refugees. Throughout our history, we've learned that turning away those in need only leads to greater suffering. The journey and confrontation. Over the next week, the crew worked with Vex Tora to revive 4 more Myrathi who could help prepare their people for the journey. The aliens were initially cautious, almost unable to believe that humans genuinely wanted to help them. They had spent so long being rejected that kindness seemed suspicious. Your people are very individual, Vex Tora commented to Dr. Navarro as they worked on improving the translator. Each one speaks differently, thinks differently. Among Myrathi, we share a closer connection, more unified. Does our individuality bother you? Dr. Navarro asked, curious. It is strange to us, Vex Tora admitted, but perhaps it explains why you made a different choice than the others. Engineering teams led by Okonkwo faced a serious challenge. The Myrathi ships were barely able to move under their own power. Lieutenant Kimathi developed an innovative solution, a network of energy fields that would allow the Pathfinder to tow the largest stasis vessel while the other Myrathi ships followed in a tight formation. It's never been tested on this scale, Kimathi explained to Captain Reeves. But theoretically, it should work. Theoretically isn't good enough, Reeves replied. Those ships contain thousands of lives. We've run all possible simulations, Okonkwo added. This is our best option for getting them home. As preparations for departure neared completion, Reeves received a troubling message from Earth Command. She called an emergency meeting with her senior officers. We've received intelligence that the Fularian Assembly has learned about our contact with the Myrathi, she explained. They're not happy about it. The Fularians? Harris frowned. They were the first civilization to reject the Myrathi. And according to Myrathi records, they're at least 2 centuries ahead of Earth in technological development, added Dr. Navarro. Dr. Okafor looked concerned. Why would they care if we help the Myrathi? According to our intelligence, they see it as interfering in what they call the natural order, Reeves replied. They believe advanced civilizations have the right to decide which younger species survive. What are our orders? Asked Commander Chen. Earth Command says proceed with caution. We're to bring the Myrathi home as planned, but be prepared for possible Fularian interference. Reeves' expression was serious. Our mission just got more complicated. The journey to New Horizon Colony would take 4 months at maximum speed. With the Myrathi ships in tow, it would take nearly 7. As the strange convoy prepared to depart, Captain Reeves recorded a log entry. We're taking responsibility for over 15,000 refugees, she said quietly. Earth has never faced a challenge like this before. Integration will be difficult. Resources will be strained. Some will question our decision. But looking at the faces of the Myrathi children we've managed to save already, I know we've made the right choice. The Pathfinder's engines glowed brightly as it began to move, the energy tether extending back to the massive Myrathi ship. The other refugee vessels followed in formation, their systems now stable thanks to the human engineers' work. On the bridge, Vex Torres stood beside Captain Reeves, watching the stars. My people will never forget what humans have done for us, the alien said softly. When everyone else saw only burden, you saw lives worth saving. Reeves nodded, but her mind was on the long journey ahead and the message about the Fularian Assembly. She hoped they would make it to the colony before encountering any opposition, but deep in her heart, she knew it wouldn't be that simple. 2 months into their journey to New Horizon, the Pathfinder and its convoy of Myrathi ships moved steadily through space. The crew had settled into a routine, working closely with the awakened Myrathi to maintain the fleet and learn about each other's cultures. Captain Reeves was in her quarters reviewing reports when the alert sounded. She rushed to the bridge, where her crew stood at their stations with tense expressions. Report, she ordered as she took her seat. Lieutenant Wong pointed to the main screen. 3 ships approaching at high speed, Captain. Based on the design, they match Myrathi descriptions of Fularian vessels. Reeves felt a chill run down her spine. The Fularians were the most advanced civilization that had rejected the Myrathi. How long until they reach us? 17 minutes, Wong replied. They're moving extremely fast. Alert the Myrathi representatives. I want Vex Torah on the bridge, Reeves ordered. She turned to Patel. Are they sending any messages? Yes, Captain. Audio only so far. Patel's fingers moved across his console, putting it on speakers. A strange, almost musical voice filled the bridge, the translator converting it to English. Human vessel, this is Overseer Calix of the Fularian Assembly. You are transporting biological subjects that were evaluated and rejected for continued existence. Stop your engines and prepare to surrender this cargo. The bridge crew exchanged shocked glances. Cargo, Dr. Okafor said with disgust. They're talking about living beings. Vex Torah entered the bridge, the tall alien moving with grace despite the obvious tension. The Fularians, Vex Torah said simply, looking at the screen. I was afraid this would happen. What can you tell us about them? Reeves asked. They believe themselves to be the most evolved species in this sector of the galaxy. Their technology is far beyond what you or my people possess. Vex Torah's multifaceted eyes showed clear fear. They do not see other species as equals. Reeves stood up. Paddle, open a channel. When the officer nodded, she spoke clearly. Fularian vessel, this is Captain Elena Reeves of the United Earth Exploration Vessel Pathfinder. The Myrathi are under our protection. They are not cargo, they are refugees. We have chosen to assist them. There was a pause before the reply came. Your species is young and naive. The natural order of the galaxy requires that weaker species give way to stronger ones. The Mairathi were judged and found wanting. Your interference is not welcome. 3 Fularian ships appeared on the view screen. They were unlike anything the humans had seen before. Geometric structures that seemed to defy conventional physics, surrounded by fields of shifting, colored light. They moved with impossible precision, taking up positions around the human Mairathi convoy. They're powering weapons, Wong reported, her voice tight. Our shields won't hold against that kind of technology. Reeves turned to her crew. Options. We could try to outrun them, suggested Chen. Not with the Mairathi ships in Tau, Okonkwo responded. And we can't abandon the Mairathi. Lieutenant Kimathi spoke up. We could position the Pathfinder between them and the refugee ships, use ourselves as a shield. Reeves nodded slowly. That might be our only choice. She looked at Vextora. Would you like to respond to them? The alien hesitated, then nodded. I will speak to them. Patel opened the channel again, and Vextora stepped forward. Overseer Calix, this is lead scientist Vextora of the Mairathi Collective. We remember your judgment of us, but humans have made a different choice. They see value where you saw only weakness. The reply was cold. The humans lack the perspective that comes with advancement. They will learn in time that some species are not worth saving. We will give you one chance. Return to your ships. The humans will release you to us, and they may continue their journey unarmed. Vextora looked at Reeves, who shook her head firmly. We're not abandoning your people. Then we stand together. Vextora replied before addressing the Fularians again. We decline your offer, Overseer. The humans have shown us what true advancement looks like. It is not measured in technology, but in compassion. There was a long silence. Then, very well. The consequences are on your heads. The communication ended. Wong's console lit up with warnings. They're charging weapons. Move us into position, Reeves ordered. Protect the Mairathi ships at all costs. Lieutenant Kimathi took control, skillfully piloting the Pathfinder to place it between the oncoming Fularian vessels and the vulnerable refugee fleet. The ship's engines strained with the effort. Shields at maximum, Wong reported, though I don't know how much good they'll do. Send a distress signal to Earth Command, Reeves said to Patel. Let them know our situation. The Fularian ships moved with impossible grace, surrounding the human Mairathi convoy. A new transmission came through, but this time with video. The being on the screen was humanoid in shape, but seemed to be composed of light and energy within a transparent shell. Its voice resonated oddly as it spoke. I am Overseer Calix. I will speak with you directly, human captain, before we take action. Reeves stood tall. I'm listening. Your species has existed for a mere instant in cosmic time. You have barely left your solar system, yet you presume to judge where we, who have traveled the stars for millennia, have already decided. We made no judgment of you, Reeves replied calmly. We simply chose to help those in need. The Mairathi are evolutionary dead ends. Their genetic patterns show no adaptability. Their culture is stagnant. By saving them, you condemn future generations to carrying this burden. That's our choice to make, Reeves countered. And we don't see them as a burden. We see potential allies, friends, and teachers. Calix's form pulsed with light. You cannot comprehend the consequences of your actions. Step aside now, or we will remove you and take the Mairathi. Captain Reeves looked around at her crew, then at Vextora. In that moment, she made her decision. No. The single word hung in the silence of the bridge. No. Calix seemed genuinely surprised. No, Reeves repeated. Humanity stands with the Mairathi. If you want them, you'll have to go through us first. Calix's form flickered. You would risk your own species for these refugees. That's what makes us human, Reeves said simply. There was a long pause. The Fularian ships remained positioned around them, weapons charged. The tension on the bridge was palpable as everyone waited for the inevitable attack. Then, unexpectedly, Calyx spoke again. Interesting. Throughout our history, we have encountered many species, but none have ever defied us to protect another. This behavior is unexpected. Reeves sensed an opening. Perhaps there's more to evolutionary fitness than technology and physical adaptability. Cooperation, compassion, diversity. These are strengths too. The theory unproven, Calyx replied, but his tone had changed subtly. Then allow us to prove it, Reeves suggested. Let us take the Marathi to our colony. Judge us not by our current development, but by what we might become together. The overseer was silent for a long moment. Finally, he said, we will observe this experiment. Take your refugees, human, but know that we will be watching. If your experiment fails, if your compassion proves misguided, we will return. We understand, Reeves acknowledged. The Fularian ships began to move away, their weapons powering down. The bridge crew let out a collective breath they hadn't realized they were holding. They're leaving, Wong confirmed, disbelief in her voice. Vextora turned to Captain Reeves, all four arms trembling slightly. You risked everything for us. That's what humans do, Reeves replied with a small smile. We stand up for what we believe in. 5 months later, the Pathfinder and its convoy of refugee ships arrived at New Horizon Colony. Thousands of colonists had gathered to watch the arrival of Earth's newest residents. As the first Marathi stepped onto the colony world, Captain Reeves stood beside Vextora. It won't be easy, she said quietly. Integration never is. But it is possible, Vextora replied. You have shown us that. In the years that followed, the Marathi brought new perspectives, technologies and ideas to human civilization. Their knowledge of stellar phenomena advanced Earth's astrophysics by decades. In return, humans provided them with a home and protection. When other species encountered the human-Marathi alliance, they often expressed surprise, sometimes even disdain, at humanity's choice. But none could deny the benefits that came from cooperation rather than abandonment. And far away, the Fularians continued to watch, perhaps learning a lesson that thousands of years of technological advancement had failed to teach them. That true evolution sometimes means choosing compassion over convenience, and that the strength of a civilization might best be measured not by what it achieves alone, but by whom it chooses to save.